on, let's do this thing.
Okay, so obviously we're here to talk about Disney Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two, sequel to the first Disney Epic Mickey game. We had a couple of goals with this project. I mean, obviously we wanted to, at the high level, take all the things we did well in the first game and do better. I mean, I think we did a nice job of creating a world that was compelling and interesting to a broad range of players. I think we did a good job of creating an emotionally rich story that people felt invested in and that they sort of told themselves in that way that I like to do in games. I think we reminded people that Mickey Mouse is not necessarily just for kids, and that he can be heroic and mischievous and a fun avatar. Certainly as much fun as comparable game stars like Mario and Sonic and even Link, I guess, to some extent. So I think we did all of that really well. I think we were pretty successful at introducing a new idea into gaming, which is the dynamically changeable world. That was, when we first started thinking about that first game, that was the thing. Can we make a game where players can dynamically change their world? And the funny thing was, I really am starting to talk too much already, but I haven't talked about this. At Junction Point, before we signed with Disney, we were working on an epic fantasy game that was all based around dynamically changing the world. And when the opportunity came to work on Disney Epic Mickey, it was cool because we got to take that same idea that we were doing in a completely different context and adapt it to the needs of this other game. But in Disney Epic Mickey 2, we had to come up with some other new thing, right? I mean, before I start working on anything, I have to, in my own mind at least, plan out, at least 3 games worth of systemic innovation, I guess. What's the new thing we're going to do? And we always knew we wanted to do 2-player co-op. This was the time when I was going to just say, all right, we're going to make a 2-player co-op game. I've been putting it off for years and years and years, making single-player games because I love them, frankly. But now let's see if we can adapt our ideas. So that was the first thing we wanted to do, 2-player co-op. We wanted to enhance the things that we didn't do quite so well. So, do the things we did well the first time, introduce this one new thing, and then do better on the things where, you guys and fans told us loud and clear what we needed to do. Camera, number 1, right? Honestly, I mean this seriously. Don't get me started talking about the camera on the first Mickey game. But we knew we could do better. We knew our world, we knew our tools, the paint and thinner, what they could do. We knew the world, we knew the characters. We knew so much more this time around than we knew the first time. So you'll play the demo and tell us yourselves if you believe what I'm saying here, but the camera is way better in this game than it was before. Adding full voice, that was another thing. I made a decision on the first game not to have any characters speak. In retrospect, I regret it. Disney fans expect Mickey Mouse to talk. They don't expect Mario to talk, They do expect all of these characters to speak in the voices that we've heard all our lives. So we added full speech, and the coolest thing of all to me is that we introduced some new characters or reintroduced characters, and we got to give them a voice, right? Frank Welker is now the voice of Oswald at Disney forever, and the personality that we gave Oswald. I mean, it was our model, our script, our character description, his personality description that is now going to drive, Oswald into the future. Gus the Gremlin, same thing. No one knew who he was, even at Disney. We gave him a personality, and now in Carrie Elwes, we've given him a voice. And so that's contributing to Disney's future is pretty darn cool, right? And now games are relevant enough and big enough that we can actually do that. So that was the other thing. And then finally, I really wanted to get back closer to where we were on all those Ultima games and Deus Ex and the games that I've worked on in the past in one sense. And that is that your choices have real significant consequences. I wanted to do that in the first game. And we certainly had choices with consequences, but we had to sort of localize it. When we play tested the game, we discovered that gamers get it, but normal people were intimidated by it. And in fact, it's another parallel. When we started testing Deus Ex, what I discovered was that even gamers were paralyzed by choice. They were so unfamiliar with it. In the late 90s, games had trained people so well that there was one way to do anything. And if you just kept beating on it and moving forward like a shark, you would eventually win or give up. And when you confront them with an obvious choice, even in the 90s, gamers stopped dead in their tracks. I mean, I literally saw people put a controller down and go, or put a keyboard down, sorry, you know, and just like, what do I do? And that's what we started to see with our playtesters on the first Mickey game. But once they got into it, I saw that they really did they got it, okay? And so in Disney Epic Mickey 2, when you make a choice, it is forever. There are some you can go back and change, and we do let you go back and revisit maps if you want. And there are places where you can increase your abilities and go back and do things on those earlier maps. You can choose to undo some of your choices. But many of the choices in the game are forever. And so I think gamers are gonna, Deus Ex fans in particular, the people I care about and think about a lot, they're gonna look at this and go, okay, this is more familiar to me now, if they can get past the fact that you're not wearing sunglasses at night and carrying a gun and wearing a trench coat. It's like, yeah, I mean, there'll be a guy who wears sunglasses at night, but not a guy with ears. I don't get it. But that's sort of the high level of what we were trying to do. And then obviously introduce some new lands to explore and a whole new story. And just one last thing, and then I'll throw it open for questions here. For me, even if no one ever notices it, it's critically important, just for me personally, that games be about something in the same way that movies and books and plays and symphonies can be about something, at least to the creator. And for me, the first game, whether anybody noticed, was about how important are family and friends to you. And that's like what games do that no other medium does is they ask questions. A movie will say, this is how important I think family and friends are. What do you think? And that's really cool, and I love movies, make no mistake. But only games can say, what do you think? How important are family and friends to you? And then through every act in your game, you answer that question for yourself. And the new game, the family's already been restored. The end of Mickey 1 was, Mickey and Oswald becoming brothers in a very real sense. This game is about do you feel everything is redeemable? Is there evil in the world so powerful that it is irredeemable? And who can you trust? How do you determine who to trust in the world? And again, I almost don't care if anybody ever notices that. But the fact is it's there, and I think at the end of the game people will have a richer experience because there's something going on underneath the surface that maybe they're not even aware of. So there you go.